Hi, I'm Ian Dempsey, and you're listening to In Conversation with ...
Studio, but it's
Oh, yeah.
it's not the most functional at the minute. You know, college radio. You came from pirate radio, so I'm sure you can appreciate.
Yeah. Is that okay? Is that? I don't know.
Just go to voicemails.
What? Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm fairly sure it's recording now anyway. So
When did you crack your screen?
Whoa!
Use a bit of that, will you?
Right.
Do you want to try yours, Greg?
What, you
I don't think it's working.
can't use a window. You can't use your phone.
Oh, it's not actually.
That's what you get for buying it off of an Indian lad on eBay.
To be fair, I'd say the phone shops in Cavan aren't that much better anyway.
No, they're all coming from the same
They're all
place.
the same source, yeah.
Who's in Cavan?
Hey.
All right, very good.
Gavin's from
I'm going
Cavan.
to Cavan tomorrow.
Oh, God,
I'm going to a place called Mulla.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm going there because there's a school. They won it on the show. It's a primary school, and we're going up and we're giving them 10 grand.
Oh.
So they're delighted. So we're going to do the show.
Do we get similar treatment? Or?
Well, you know.
5% is enough.
But and then I'm staying in a place called in Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
Virginia, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Shawnee,
nice,
Shawnee
isn't it?
Thing's place, isn't it?
I don't know. That's Lee Russell. That's
Oh, yeah.
Ballycommon.
Oh, I'm going up there.
Oh, yeah.
Friday
I'm
night,
literally 3 minutes from Steve Russell.
Oh, there you go. Right.
My neighbour Sean Quinn now.
Is he?
Yeah.
I've seen
We'll
him.
leave it at that. We'll
They're
go
best
further than that.
He's back in business now.
He
isn't
is, yeah.
You must be from the wealthy sort of area of Cavan, then, are you?
Well,
Yeah.
like he's...
No, you.
Myself.
Well, you know how they save.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
I heard if you ever want to hit up a spot, that credit union in
Yeah.
I can't remember where you're from.
Anyways,
Anyways,
let's
Right.
get down to business. So we're back again. The second interview in 3 days. We're really pushing ourselves, aren't we?
And we're back in DCU.
We're back in DCU in a boardroom in the Student Union because our lovely FM studio isn't ready yet.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
Just, okay. And our guest today, probably one of the most recognisable voices in Ireland, would you say, lads?
Probably agree with you there. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the longest running radio shows, I'd say, on
Whoa.
Irish radio.
Whoa.
Probably,
And a recent birthday.
and a recent birthday.
Are we going to sing happy birthday?
No.
No, okay.
Guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Ian Dempsey, and I'm delighted to be here in DCU. I actually grew up just down the road from here.
No way, where?
Yeah, just off Griffith Avenue. Do you know Griffith Avenue?
Oh,
Just
yes,
down
of
there.
course, yeah.
My parents both still live there, so one of them is just about to be 90, and the other one is about 89. And,
So they've been around longer than DCU.
They've been around. I remember this used to be a big field.
Yeah, we've heard that from a lot of our guests.
Yeah.
So that's the age group that you're going for, obviously. But it used to be a massive big field, and St. Aidan's school was just down there, and I think Bertie Ahern went there.
Did he?
Yeah, because he's only down the road in Drumcondra.
Yeah. So it's nice to be here. Thanks very much.
And thanks for coming in. What was the I kind of say this to all of our guests, like what was the thought when the email came in asking to be on the show?
I always try to respond to them and to try and be interviewed by people, because I mean, this is the next generation. If you're doing courses in this kind of area,
Of course, yeah.
And you never know who you're going to meet. In later life, you could be the CEO of the next company I'm working for, and you say, "You never gave me that interview, you little shit."
Colin does have a list.
Well, it's purely potluck that I actually got your email. I just kind of guessed because of,
because it's not RTE, of course.
Yeah.
Our trick with RTE is your first name dot the last name
and
at
RTE.
yeah, but I actually tried that with multiple people in
Yeah.
Today FM and it didn't come up. But luckily, I found the formula. I won't say it there just in case you're bombarded by emails. Yeah, sure. We'll get underway then.
Yeah.
So you joined RTE in 1980, but had you any experience with radio before that?
I was involved. Pirate radio was a big thing when I was growing up, and I suppose, people have said I was kind of lucky because I was born at the right time. So, like in 1978, I sent a tape into some crowd called Capital Radio on Bachelor's Walk, and now it's not the Capital Radio who became Capital Radio.
Capital, yeah.
But so I sent it into them, and I was complimented by the fact that they got back straight away and said, "Yeah, come on in, we'd love you to do it." It was really because there was nobody else to do it. So I filled a slot for them, and I used to do their breakfast show, ironically, which is what I'm doing still.
Do you ever get sick at the early starts? No,
not really. To be honest with you, I mean, like if you spoke to my mother, you can pop down to her down the road there. She will tell you that I was one of these guys that she'd wake up at about 2:15 every afternoon and say, "Are you going to get up today?" or whatever. So this has trained me, I suppose, to kind of get out of bed.
What time is the start of the day?
What's the typical day?
5 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off, and it's not too bad actually. It's grand, There's nobody else up in the house, obviously, except the dog and myself.
Do you tiptoe or you just
not really? No. I've said I'm
the breadwinner.
I don't think I've ever actually said that out loud. Anyway, I may have said it to myself, but never out loud. I go downstairs, have the old porridge and the berries and all that crap, and a cup of coffee, and I normally go through the kind of online newspapers and all that, and just then we have this kind of Google Doc that we share between the team. So I put my stuff into that, and they put stuff into it. Everybody puts stuff. Then we have a meeting I drive in then at about 6. Obviously have a shower, clean myself up a little bit. You got to do these things.
I suppose you're up early enough. You're not really hitting that Dublin traffic at that time, are
No,
you?
none at all. I mean, I'd be in, I live out in Sutton, and I'd be in 20 minutes.
We always ask our guests tea or coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee. Actually,
coffee.
it's funny. I've never had a cup. I haven't had a cup of tea in about 30 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I agree
honestly.
with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Hate tea.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't know. I think
tea.
maybe.
I hate tea.
I know you prefer coffee, but I didn't think you hated it.
No.
Yeah.
I actually didn't drink tea. I'd say I went from the time I was probably about 6 when I realised I didn't like it until I was about 17 before I had a cup of tea.
I think I'm going to have to revalue my friendship with you at this stage.
I've been doing it since the day we met, Colin, so
I didn't know that you actually hated tea, though. I thought you just preferred coffee.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm enjoying this. Because actually, I was just listening to on the way out. I was listening. I don't know whether you know the guys, and I know that your age group would be more in their kind of demographic. The guys who do Spins Breakfast Show, Graham and Nathan, and they've got this podcast.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of kind of just wandering off on tangents, and it's good. I mean, it's quite entertaining because you don't really get that anymore. Everything is very kind of
we like to
ordered
think
now.
it's just a chat more than an interview.
That's what we aim for.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah.
So back to the tea coffee, or sorry, to the coffee. How do you take your coffee, or is there a coffee of choice?
I have an espresso machine that my wife bought me for Christmas.
The pods,
the little pods. Yeah. My favourite pod would be the Romas, which are kind of around the 8 mark as opposed to 10, 11, 12. So it's not too strong, and I normally have one of those ones, a big one. In the morning, and then later in the afternoon I might have one of the smaller little espresso jobbies. But it's great machine, great system. I think some of the coffee snobs would say, no, not an espresso, but I do like it, and I think it's also clean. Just throw them out afterwards,
Did we ever talk about our own coffee preferences on air? I don't think. What's yours?
What's mine? I'm one of these flowery kind of types. Like I like all the lattes. A lot of milk, like, I know.
Oh, you had the toffee latte there when we were on our way down to RT.
I did have that was a bit sweet for that time of day now, to be honest. But I was feeling it. No, I like my coffee. I wouldn't be a snob now or anything. I like these Arabica.
That's the word. That's the word.
Anyways,
I do like a frappuccino. The cold ones.
Oh yeah.
I can't say that I've dabbled too much. I don't really stray far from a cappuccino when I'm. That's that kind of
cappuccino, Americano, maybe a mocha.
Yeah.
Frisky.
Do you say
I've
mocha?
no idea what you're talking about.
Mocha or mocha?
Mocha. I thought. No.
See, I went when we were in New York, literally our first day off the plane in JFK. I went up and I was like, "Oh, can I get a mocha?" And she looked at me like I had 10 heads. Since that day, I don't know whether it was the accent or what, but since that day, I'm just so self-conscious when I go up and say, "Can I get a?"
And then you can't remember what was the wrong one you said.
You'd be better off just asking for hot chocolate with a shot of caffeine or something like that. It's the exact same thing.
Do you know, your man came in? I work in a hotel, and these two out lads came in one day, like straight wellies and everything. He's like, "Can I get a coffee?" I said, "Yeah, any particular type?" And he was like, "One of them there, what do you call it? We had one of them up in Dublin there the other day in Dublin. Get one of them there lattes there, please."
Oh, the lattes, they're grand, yeah. Oh yeah.
That's coffee anyways. Check.
Done.
Did you always have an interest in the radio and media when you were young, or when did it start?
I do. Well, I mean, from when I was about 6 or 7, a friend across the road, a fellow called Jonathan O'Shea, and myself, we used to pretend we were on the radio. Like when I was growing up, it's a long time ago, right? There weren't that many radio stations. No. There was no Spotify. There was no kind of podcasting really or whatever. So I mean, I'm not doing the poor mouth, but I mean, there was RTE had one channel on the radio, Radio Luxembourg was a station only on medium wave that if you were listening to a song, it would start off perfect and then it would go out and then back in again, and and then BBC had a few channels as well. So I mean, there was a dream to be on it.
You would be enamoured by it at that time.
Not really, but I did I did like the mystique of it, and I did like the idea of saying, wow, I'd love to be involved in that. And it was, I mean, I'm using the word lucky again, but it was the fact that while all this was developing, I was also growing up, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time.
It seems like a lot of this, like from a lot of our guests, right place, right time, seems to be the general consensus.
In other words, none of us really put much of an effort in.
I did funny now when we talked to him. He was just like, I don't have him here, lads.
I still wonder every day.
I do want to fact check something. When we were doing research, like we obviously, like, Wikipedia was one of the sources like for info,
which is to be fair, it's getting much better now.
Yeah, it is getting much better, but like it obviously can be edited by anybody. So it says on your Wikipedia page, we looked up, that you made your own radio with the help of your cousin at 6 years old. Is that true?
That I made my own radio?
Yeah, an actual physical radio.
No,
okay,
that's not true.
Right,
I made my own radio show at the age of 6.
Okay,
So
maybe something was lost in translation.
That's
there.
probably what that meant.
Okay, I just wanted.
That was probably that Indian guy who sold you the phone.
Jimmy strikes again.
But then, you're obviously quite successful because you got yourself a job in the national broadcaster RT. So, what was the first job that you had in there then?
In there was the first one I was on actually breakfast, but it was breakfast at weekends, Saturday and Sunday morning, 6:30 to 9:30 or 6:30 to 9 on every Saturday and Sunday, and enjoyed it. And I moved quickly from that to a program called Poporama, which was a kids show. I was on at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that was the kind of that was a pretty good springboard. That kind of got me noticed a little bit, and then from there they put me on to daytime. They put me on around the kind of 9 o'clock in the morning, which was a bit of a failure. So then I was kind of demoted back, and I was put on to nighttime. I was kind of all over the schedule. Nighttime, 11 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. Then I was back on the afternoons. Then I was on lunchtime. Then I was back on breakfast. So I've kind of been everywhere. Really.
And do you prefer the early starts now?
I do, yeah. I like the idea of
used to them at this stage.
You know what? Yeah, but when you wake up in the morning, everybody when they wake up in the morning, their brain has been resting, and their mind is kind of emptied out a little bit, and so then somebody like me can start filling it up with crap again. You know what I mean? And because I mean, if you come on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, your brain is saying, no, I already heard your man this morning saying that, so at least you're fresh.
I suppose you're getting people on their commutes as well, so there is a wide listenership
exactly,
that might not be there in the afternoon when people are actually at work.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, nowadays there are so many other distractions as well, and it's completely understandable with technology. Like there are people playing games,
get into the car,
there
the
are people
on
watching Netflix things that they've downloaded. So I mean, you do have to try and keep people interested, and run little competitions, and kind of play decent music and give them the news and the traffic and all that.
How much of the music actually is like, okay, I actually like this song, I want to play it?
Well, it used to be everything, but now it's become like, I mean, I think Today FM, when it started, it was a kind of, there was a real hunger there to be successful, and we did become very successful.
So it's kind of moulded your own rules as you went.
We did, yeah. But now, in the last few years, they have actually kind of said, okay, listen, we've got to focus here, because I mean, you were getting everything from Frank Sinatra to Nirvana, followed by it could be anything, country music, or, so they had to kind of focus in, and they've done a lot of research, and I mean, I think it's the right thing to do. So it's more defined now. So I wouldn't be picking out very, very much music, to be honest with you, but it's kind of based on playlists and research and all that, But I'm still happy doing it. I still get a buzz out of it,
When we were talking to Michael Lester there on Monday, he boldly said that music isn't as nearly as good as it was back in 70s, 80s. Would you agree?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's some interesting stuff going around, but I think that it's become very much like, you kind of say, well, is that a song or is that a production?
Yeah.
If you hear pieces of music coming out and it's effective and it's got an impact, and you're saying, oh, this is good, but at the same time you're kind of saying, is it a song though?
Yeah.
And I think maybe there aren't as many songs as there used to be back in the day.
I think there's almost like
essentially Michael is wrong.
We're going to start a beef now.
This is how we're going to make our name.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like there's
Dare to Care, we can do charity boxing.
White Potter boxing, perfect.
Yeah, Rag Rumble.
Yeah. I was going to say there's very much almost like a formula for successful music, not so much good music, but successful music nowadays. Like the same ingredients added, a little bits altered here and there, but it's very much the same thing.
And nearly everything is featuring somebody else as well, which is
a lot of
that kind of gets
collaborations,
like if you look at the charts now, like nearly everything is featuring somebody else, and somebody else, you know, and you're saying, can you do anything on your own?
Well, there are a lot of people doing stuff on their own now, like, you know, people have access to instruments and
absolutely,
back in the day, like
yeah.
people are making a lot more music.
Yeah, and I mean, like my own son now he's 24, nearly 25, and I mean he was in a band and they've kind of broken up, but he's still doing music and he's still making stuff with other people, and I'm his father, so I'm kind of impressed right now. I don't know, but he's, you know, some of the stuff they've come up with is good, but he can do it all in the house. He can do it all on a computer, and he can do it in a bedroom. He can, you know, so all the equipment is much cheaper and much easier to access than it ever was before, which is great. Same with radio, same with podcasting. Here we are sitting in the boardroom.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We don't need the studio.
Yeah.
We have a phone. That's like.
Actually, I was just talking.
People know that we're not.
I swear we're better than this. Like.
I was just talking to your man Pete Tong, who does a lot of that Ibiza stuff in, you know, as a DJ. And like when I was started off, I used to do discos, and you'd go around to places, and you'd have to bring like about 6 to 7
big
steel
cases
with records and all that in it. You'd have to bring your equipment. Nowadays, you just have to bring an iPhone with you.
An iPhone and aux cords.
That's got everything on it. You've got a mixer on it. You've got and just hook it up and away you go. It's amazing, you know. So
when you were with RT, you did obviously dabble in a bit of television as well. Did you prefer radio to television always? Or?
I've always preferred radio and will always. I mean, I think the thing about radio is that you're more in control yourself over what's coming out at the other end, whereas with TV you've got a lighting guy, you've got a sound guy, you've got a producer, you've got people shouting in your ear, you've got, you know. So I mean, I did enjoy it, and I loved doing, like, the Den was the thing with myself and Zig and Zag and all that, and it was great crack, and we kind of we knew what we were supposed to be doing, but we didn't have anything written down. So it was you know, it was like a roller coaster ride every single day, you know. But I kind of had to give that up because I was on breakfast in 2FM at the time, and then I was going off to do that. So I was leaving the house at about 6, and I wasn't getting home till about 8 o'clock in the evening, and then just going to bed and getting up doing it again, you know. So
I'm slightly older than the guys here because I'm a mature student. I know I might look it, but
take a shot every time Greg says that he's a mature student.
But it's relevant. Anyways, so you would have been slightly before my time with the Den, just by a couple of years. But the first time I met Saki.
Yes.
And Jerry May.
Yes.
At the community games back in, I don't know, a long time ago. But
in Mosney.
In Mosney, yeah. I fainted.
Did you?
Yeah, I fainted.
Because of Saki or because of Jerry May?
I'm not sure. I had an absolute obsession with Jerry May.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, they used to just run and joke at home that she was going to be my wife.
Right,
yeah.
Oh,
It
wow.
didn't transpire. I presume the fainting in front of her.
I think she was nearly Ray Darcy's wife as well, actually. I think there was a little thing going on there for a while. And
I think like, it's an upgrade. But so obviously the Den was a huge part of, I suppose, your persona, and I suppose how the nation greeted you, and like it's an instant insight into, like, I suppose, a generation's heart. You know, like the Den was the Den.
It was, and I mean, like, no matter where you went, like, you could go to the dodgiest streets in Dublin or whatever, and you'd meet all these kind of people, but everybody has a little brother, a little sister, or whatever, and, you know, so you'd feel, okay, I'm in the wrong place, and I could get into a bit of trouble here, and the next minute, how are things, you know? And then, would you and he'd write down, would you play that now for little Dorothy on Tuesday or something, whatever, you know?
Do you find it odd, because, like we look at, and probably most people do look at radio show hosts, especially as successful as yourself, as celebrities, but because you're radio, because your voice, you might not have that recognition quality walking down the street.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to, when I was on TV, I used to, but nowadays I don't really at all, which is great in one way, and in other ways you're kind of, like, for example, you know, you might do what you think is a great show or whatever, or you know, and you're getting a great reaction and great buzz, and you've given away this, and you've interviewed whoever or whatever, and then you go around to get your hair cut, and the person would say, "You're not working today," like, as if, you know, you think everybody's heard this is great, but
because, like, some of our guests, like, they would be big names in the media sphere, but, like, people our age might not be as engaged with, like, like RT or radio or anything like that. So when we say, like, oh, we're bringing on such and such today, they're kind of like, oh, cool, who's that?
We said to Brady that, like, we said we were interviewing Michael Lister, or we interviewed Michael Lister. She said, who?
Yeah.
And like she played, like she was on underage development squads for Cavan ladies football, and she was like, I was like, what's the Sunday game? I don't watch it.
But on the other hand,
but surely you've watched it once.
When I tell like my family, like my parents or my aunties and uncle, they're like, "Wow, you're doing well, aren't you?" Because they have that name quality recognition, so they actually think I'm doing really well for myself.
Look at you sitting there.
That shocked.
Anyway, so I suppose in 1998, obviously 20 years ago now, you made the move from the national broadcaster to an independent broadcaster. Did you ever see that as a risk?
What was the view at home like? Was it?
Well, I did have to sit down. I was made the offer, and I wanted to do it. And I also thought that my age was kind of right to do it. If I didn't do it then, I was probably just going to stay in RT, and which would be fine. Yeah. But I wanted.
I'd say comfortable, not shrivel.
Nobody that stays in RT shrivels up. Just to be fair.
No, but I so I wanted to do it, and I was also. Back in the day, I was always into the whole idea of commercial radio, and I think that it's much more vibrant and much more, because somebody owns it, somebody wants it to do well, so there's a kind of an incentive to get out there and do it. And it was a good offer that they made, and they offered me the breakfast show, and I had my new team and all that kind of stuff. So it was a risk, but I sat down with my wife and. Our kids weren't really old enough to be joining in those kind of conversations, but so we decided to go with it, and I must say it was probably the best thing that I ever did, because I met a whole new team. Everybody was kind of driving forward, whereas in RTE there was a certain amount of, well, we've done that now, we've proved ourselves. So Today FM may have reached that again in the last 5 years, but now there's a new energy about that as well, which is great.
I guess the thing with RTE is, if you're working there, you're going to be grand anyway.
Yeah.
It's like the ESB, a job for life, like our Irish
radio. Yeah, almost.
There was a certain risk, I guess, to FM.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was on contract in RTE, so there were no guarantees there either. So you just, you're kind of saying it's a risk, okay, but it's also a risk staying there, because they might say, nah, you've lost your sheen, off you go somewhere else, So, but it was the right time to do it.
Initially turned down Today FM? They came 12 months before?
I had been talking to them before, and I had been talking to Century Radio, which was the one beforehand. And I'd been talking to 98 FM, so I had a bit of a pattern there. So if anybody kind of examined the history there, they'd say, well, he obviously wanted to get out.
Or you were that much in demand.
Yeah. But I did, like, I would have, say, the Century Radio contract at home, so it went that far, and then I said no. Which I'm sure they were a bit pissed off about, but there you go.
And of course, one of the staple segments in your breakfast show is Gift Grub. With the wonderful Mario Rose stuff. How did you and Mario first meet?
Well, Mario was, and he would admit this himself. Like when I went in there, he was kind of hanging around a lot. He was, he'd have a chat with him, and he might do a kind of a bit of Daniel O'Donnell, or he might do a bit of whoever, and I just. From talking to him, kind of said, well, what about if we were to try and put this on the air, but put it on regularly, like, because you used to hear him every now and again, he'd do something, but then you wouldn't hear him for another 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. Yeah. So I said, if you put it on every day, consistency is the key, and everybody says, oh, we'll tune in for that. So so we started doing it every day, and it started as Gift Grub. It was supposed to be Bertie Ahern in a kitchen, like Delia Smith or Darina Allen, and having a guest in each day and doing it. So that lasted about 3 days. It's getting a bit boring now. We better do something else, So then it just kind of expanded out into anything you wanted it to be.
Over the past 20 years, your top 3 Mario voices.
Well, I love Bertie, and I love talking to Bertie, and I know Bertie is not in the greatest of favour at the moment.
Which do you prefer? Bertie or Mario's Bertie?
Oh, well, I wouldn't know the real Bertie at all. But I met him once actually when I was on holidays in Portugal, and he knows the character because he loved it. And I think, to be honest with you, I think Mario's depiction of him actually helped his career because it kind of fuzzied him up a little.
The Teddy side.
And I met him, and he just kept punching me in the stomach all the time. So, but I like Mario. I like Bertie doing this thing. I also enjoy. I like Pascal Mooney now. His new Pascal Donoghue. Sorry, Pascal Mooney. And what do you call him? The Flatley is also.
Flatley.
Michael Flatley, just a whole. But I like. I mean, they're all good. And they've all got different things to do.
Was there ever one where you kind of were like,
Dodge?
Yeah. Like as it went out, you were like,
oh yeah, bit close to the bone.
There were a few. There've been a few, and there've been a few that actually did go over the top. There was one that we did, some Football Manager, and he used a C word that you're not really supposed to use, but we bleeped it out, but we didn't really bleep it out enough. You know, like, so you kind of hear the start and the end of it, and we sort of
people put two and two.
Not a good idea.
When Roy Keane was in the studio. What was that like?
The real Roy Keane?
Roy meets Roy.
Roy meets Roy,
yeah. Specify.
I know, yeah. He was great with him, you know, brilliant. Now, I mean, I wouldn't say like he'd do it as a regular feature, you know what I mean? Like it was a once-off, and it was brilliant, and they got on very well together, and he did make him laugh, that was the whole point of the
That's
thing.
what challenge I
guess. Managed that.
Yeah, exactly.
The first time I actually heard it, it wasn't on the radio live at all. So when I was in, I think, 3rd or 4th class, I got an iPod Nano for my birthday.
Right.
Can we just compare generations?
Yeah.
What did you get for your birthday when you were in 3rd or 4th class?
Actually, I did get a tape recorder. Remember, an N2205 Philips cassette recorder with a microphone. So it's the same sort of thing. Yeah.
I got an iPod Nano for my when I was in 3rd or 4th class, around 9 or 10 or so, and I didn't have any music on me to put on it, because then you had to like plug it into the computer and and you had to download the CD onto the iTunes and stuff like that. But my friend's brother said he had a bit of music on his, and I ended up getting Gift Grub 7, the CD.
Oh yes.
And at first I hadn't a clue what it was, what it actually was. I was like listening to just Mumbo Jumbo, and then I actually started like
sitting right here.
No, I just didn't get like what it was about.
I know,
like,
it was out of context.
Yeah, exactly. And then I actually started learning some of the characters, and actually found it very funny. That was my first experience with Gift Grub. They stopped doing the albums.
I know. Well, it's just CDs don't really sell anymore, you know, and everything was up on the. Kind of up online now, and it's just there's no point really, you know. But we started doing stage shows instead, and they're doing well around the country, you know. So
I suppose you've been at the breakfast show for 20 years, as we've mentioned. You just literally celebrated.
Yes, on the 21st of September.
So what are some of the most memorable or least memorable moments, as they might be?
Well, we got to travel quite a bit, and we got to go to Japan 3 times, which is a fantastic place to go, and to broadcast from there, and also to broadcast a breakfast show from there is brilliant because the time difference.
Yeah.
So like basically what we were doing was your breakfast show was on at about 6 o'clock in the evening. So in other words, you could go there, do your breakfast show, and then go to dinner. And then you could kind of stay out more or less all night, and then you just wake up at about 2 o'clock and go in and do it again. So that was very good. Dangerous. I went with river dance once, but they ended up calling it a liver dance because people, including the dancers, were actually having such a good time. Everybody, we were all kind of meeting up afterwards and having great fun. So I was there. So that was one of the highlights. I mean, I think the idea of this, like when I went in there first, they had something like 20,000 listeners, and now it's gone into, you know, it went to 100 and something, you know, thousand. So I mean, like it's and all they wanted at the start was to get it to about 60. So we were delighted with that, and the whole station kind of evolved itself as well. So it's been a good success. But you know, sometimes you'd miss the guys from RTE, some of the guys that it was the people rather than the actual building and you know, whatever. But I still keep in touch with them anyway, you know. So like some of them were at my celebration. There was a celebration the other night for the 20 years.
Yeah, we saw so many on Twitter. There was just so many well wishers and stuff like that, like so many well known figures right now. Like, how did that feel? Like you got like you've had recognition now for a long time. But I mean, all coming together in one place.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was great. But it was also, I mean, it was the team that I work with, a great group of people, and they organised like Donnacha O'Callaghan, the rugby player, or Ronan O'Gara didn't decide. I better ring in. Like, you know, they rang and said, "Will you?" You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
But the fact that they would do it, and you know, they wouldn't normally come on just talking about nothing, you know. So I mean, it was great, and we had a good crew of people, and
did you get teary-eyed?
No, I'm terrible. I'm a bit cold, to be honest with you. You know, I think someday I'm just going to bawl my head off. You know, but
years of
exactly
memories and emotions.
I think you should. Men are supposed to now, aren't they? They're supposed to kind of let it out, really. You know,
There's actually, that's what we walked into there in SU. It was sober sock and mental health sock.
Yeah, the hangover hub.
Hangover hub, yeah. So it's if, you're
hangover
feeling if you're feeling a little bit sensitive the morning after.
Got the fear.
Yeah, got the fear. The fear. Yeah, but it's a nice safe space to, regather yourself.
They don't have puppies and things down there now?
No, that's UCD that do that.
Oh, yeah.
No, they did it, I think they did it like once or twice last year.
Yeah,
the UCD snowflakes,
Yeah. They brought in like chickens and stuff, but I don't like when you're hungover, like...
You're right, the last thing you want to see is a chicken,
You want to be eating chicken when you're hungover, you don't want to be petting one.
Yeah, it's chicken fillet roll there.
Yeah.
You just look at it.
Did the 20 years creep up on you?
It was very, very fast. I honestly, genuinely still feel like a new person in Today FM. And people still come up to me that knew me from RTE, and they say, "How are you getting on in that new place?" I'm actually there longer than I was in RTE.
You were 19 years in RTE?
I was, and I was 20 here. So I'm 20 doing the same show as well, which is same slot as.
There's not too many that have replicated.
I suppose now you have the show that's been established for so long.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself taking on anything new going forward? Or are you kind of settled now? You're happy with your lot?
Well, I'm happy there, but you can't stand still, and you can't be stagnant. The one thing I do try and do is try and keep it fresh. The teams that I work with try and kind of put new stuff into it all the time, and even if something is going well, saying okay, we'll drop that for a while and put something else in there. But I don't know, the one thing I want to do is I want to present Who Wants to Be a Millionaire on TV, so I'm putting it out there to Virgin Media and RTE, whoever wants to buy it, because it was on before, it was a huge success, and I'd be perfect. I don't normally push myself like this, but I'm just saying, I just honestly
we're saying it now here on Incompetech.
I just honestly believe that I'd be great there, so
instead of sending him an application, you should just send him the link to our podcast.
Exactly, just have a listen to this.
Passionate he was.
Yeah.
Actually, and while we were doing our research, we saw that you are in the Radio Hall of Fame.
That's right. Yes.
One question I wanted to ask you is: out of today's crop of hosts, now can be in Today FM, outside Today FM, it's up to yourself. Who do you think is next to go in?
Well, let me see. I think Ray Darcy should be in it. He's not in it yet.
Yeah.
And to be fair to him, he's been fairly brave. He did a great show on Today FM. He moved. He's now kind of.
He did the opposite of you. He's gone from independent.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
national,
Yeah. So he's settling in nicely into RTE. He's got his own TV show. But these are radio awards, the Hall of Fame ones. So I think Ray should be in there. Ryan Tubridy is more of a TV guy, and maybe he's a little bit too young. But you never know. I think most of the other guys. Pat Kenny's getting one this year, I think. So
I saw that.
Matt Cooper. I think should be in there. I think he does a fine job. Maybe Eamon Dunphy.
It's like radio. Matt and yourself and a few others. They're just become so synonymous with Today FM. You just become used to them now.
Yeah.
Have you met Dunphy much?
I know him quite well. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's a fun-loving sort of guy, and he'd know not to start talking to me about Syria. You know what I mean? So he kind of talks to people about what they're.
When we were on the bus back from RTE the other day, we were ripping the piss out of the Dunphy's podcast. When he got on John Waters.
That's right. That was great. That was great. Very good. I listened to that actually. I've started listening to a lot of podcasts myself. I was saying to the guys, Graham and Nathan, or Nathan and Graham, or whatever. Desert Island Discs on BBC. I listened to one about sitcoms called Sitcom Geeks. I listened to Eamon's The Stand as well, which I think is very good.
That's his main project now. Since
that's his. Yeah, he's left. And he got a sponsor, which is good because this is the thing about podcasting. I think everybody wants to get into it, but that horrible word, monetize. Everybody's saying
we're still working it out ourselves.
Open to donations.
If Today FM want to take us on,
will I just put my Bic and my iBand live on air? Yeah, exactly. Not live.
Podcasting is very much the way.
It is.
I think. Do you listen as a radio show host? Do you listen to much radio?
This is a question we usually.
Yeah. I listen to as much of it as I can, and I try and listen to stations from other countries, and it's much easier to do that now as well, just to see what other ideas or techniques people are using. But to be honest with you, there aren't that many new techniques or new ways of doing things. It's kind of
like twists or variations on
but
the
it's
tried
kind
and
of
tested.
speaking into the microphone. It's about just communicating and connecting, and you know,
well, that's something that you've managed to tick that box over the years. Like while we were doing our research and stuff, and like looking at say interviews with people about yourself and such, every one of them have said that you're exactly like you come across on the radio. You are that same person, and from our, I don't know how long we've been here, 20 minutes, half an hour, it certainly seems to be the case. Like, well,
I mean, I've always had the kind of rule in my head, I don't know where it came from, but just to be yourself and don't lie to your audience, you know, because if you do, you'll be caught out. And once you're caught out, if you're caught telling a lie like that, they just say they don't, they're not, wouldn't be interested, just move on to somebody else. So, I mean, I've always tried to be myself. I'd love to know what I sound like now in terms of my voice, because I keep hearing things during the 20-year thing. People were playing back years ago, and I thought my voice was very light and very kind of, you know. I was like, do I sound like that still or whatever? But
one massive thing of Today FM is how much they give back. A lot of charity work. We wanted to bring up with you the Dare to Care.
Where is your tattoo?
There it is.
Tell us. Tell us how this came about. So obviously it was part of Today FM's Dare to Care campaign.
Well, it started off with a girl in Today FM called Jill Waller. She came up with Shave or Die, which was the first one, which was either shaved your hair
this blonde here, this was slight variation on Shave or Die, but
very good. And then so one year I shaved my head completely, which was weird when you were walking past shop windows. You saw yourself and said, "Oh, I thought I was."
If that's how you feel, imagine how we felt looking at that.
And then another time I did it some colour, orange or something. I was David Bowie sort of. I'm a big Bowie fan. So, and then they tried to get me to do something else. Oh yeah, then she left, and we decided to change it, and we changed it to Dare to Care, because a lot of people, you know, you can only dye your hair and shave it so many times. So we decided to change it to Dare to Care. So it was just asking people to dare somebody to do something. So I was dared to get a tattoo.
By whom?
By the team. My team said, "Would you get a tattoo?" And I
had you had any tattoos prior?
Never,
That's your first ever tattoo?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm no spring chicken. Like, so, and I don't. And it's funny, my aforementioned parents down there, and
I bet you they get back to they.
No, they were. I said I'm getting a tattoo, and they said, "Oh, great, very good for charity." And I said, "What?" I thought they'd say you
your
were.
Body,
Yeah. But anyway, so I said I'd get that. And David Bowie had just died, and that was his last album called Black Star, and that kind of says Bowie there. That's the actual artwork. And the guy who designed that artwork actually tweeted and said that tweeted about this and said it looked great. So that was a bit of a thrill, you know.
Yeah. So we wanted to know: is there anything, if somebody said to you now, will you do this? Is there anything you wouldn't do for Dare to Care?
Well, I can't really swim, so I wouldn't do anything near water. Hang on. I'm
from Laois, though. I have an excuse.
You're landlocked.
We're much landlocked.
I've learned twice. I learned twice, and I also spent all my summers every day down in Dollymount Beach, and I was in the water all day long, you know, for hours. So I must have been able to swim at some stage. I don't.
You've forgotten how.
I don't think you forget. Like,
I know. Yeah, that's what I thought. So maybe if I was thrown into the water and I had to survive, maybe I would actually. It would come back to me. But maybe it was the same day that I got turned off tea. And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm never doing that again," or "I'm never doing that again."
This is all coming back to the whole repressed memories thing.
This is it, you know. Tell me about your childhood.
Have you been approached with any dares yet so far? It's nearly the end of September, so
I think it's there's something. I think it's actually going to be delayed slightly this year. I think it might be moving into the very early part of 2019. Now that's what I just heard at a meeting, which was probably highly confidential. But anyway, I'm telling you guys.
Oh no! Listen, lovely.
We'll come up with your dare for this year.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll submit one.
We'll submit one. I'll send you an email and we'll come up with one.
Right. Okay.
No, actually, we're going to start beef, which we're going to call it out on the podcast. So you have to listen to the next one. and
just free advertising then as well.
Yeah. And what was I'm trying to remember what the second Dare to Care was I did. Can anybody remember? I did the tattoo, and It was something.
Oh, the bridal dress thingy.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Love you. Man, Greg. I dressed as a
Greg
bride.
actually has a poster of it
I looked pretty okay.
Yeah, I thought so too. Like all things considered. Yeah.
All things considered.
What do you mean by that, Greg?
You could have shaved your shoulders. Come on.
Yeah, I know that was good fun. So I don't know what we're going to do for this year, but I'm proud, and I'm proud that
it came out well.
My wife likes it as well, and. Do
you think it adds to your hard guy image now?
Oh yeah, the hard guy. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't message you like
that. Speaking of Bowie, did you ever actually see him live?
I did loads of times. Yeah.
Did you ever meet the man himself?
I did. I met him a couple of times, and I was offered an opportunity to meet him a few times, and I said no, I don't want to, because
Yeah.
But I did. And then I said I might as well. When he played Slane, I was invited back, and I said no. I just stayed and did nothing. But then he was in the Point, as it was then. Now it's 3 Arena, and I was invited in to meet him. Now it was only a brief meeting, and I went in, but he had a good firm handshake, which is always a good sign.
Were you starstruck?
I wasn't really, because the guy, he walked out like I'd seen him on stage wearing a silver jacket or something and looking like a total rock star. And then I went backstage, and I was standing in this kind of area where kind of a green room thing, having a glass of wine or something like that. And then this fellow walks in, and he looked much smaller. He was wearing those kind of, those trousers with loads of pockets in them.
Oh yeah.
What they call cargo. Cargo pants, and a kind of a short sleeved shirt that you'd kind of wear maybe on your holidays. And I'm just like, this is David Bowie. He said, I just shook hands, and it was very nice, But
because when I met my hero was, and I have met him, is Stephen Gerrard. I met him last year. He came to Ireland for a talk about his career and stuff like that, and I was pretty starstruck. Now my meeting was very brief because my uncle got me like meet and greet tickets. So basically he went up, shook his hand, got a photo, and that was it. Like, so I didn't really have a chance to kind of
it's all very efficient.
Plus you have to run to the bathroom, of course.
Yeah,
he doesn't remember you, Paul. Sorry. What? He doesn't remember you.
No, I think he would.
He's gonna cry.
It's okay. We're allowed.
He's doing. How do you think he's doing now in Rangers? You wouldn't be that interested probably in Rangers, would you?
I keep an eye on the results, and it's like, because of Stephen Gerrard, the results get put on social media a lot. Especially.
Remember at EP, like they actually announced it over the whole like PA system in the campsite that like Celtic about Rangers. Because of him, and it's the same with Frank Lampard and Derby. You see their results nearly every weekend on like BBC now, because it's just their names that carry away. He's doing all right. They're ahead of Celtic at the moment in the league.
I think
so. Yeah.
Were you watching that game last night, Man United Derby?
No, it wasn't, but I'd say Jose is pretty mad now.
We had it on. We were at the Shy Night.
He doesn't know what you have to explain. What
Shy Night is the night that goes on.
Shy Night.
Shite
Night.
Yeah. It goes on in New Bar, our student bar, every Tuesday.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And why is that? What's shite about it?
They just play like the shittest music.
Yeah.
Well, like it's not like
it's
it's kind of like
cheesy,
popcorn kind of movie.
They had it up on the projector. Penalties. So people were dancing, but at the same time when Derby was scoring, people were like, "Hey!" And then we were getting drinks afterwards, and you just see Joe's in post-match interview, his bags under his eyes.
I know,
Now that's something we were talking about. Roy meets Roy. I'd love a gift grab. Jose meets Jose.
Although he did meet him, he went over. He was invited over when he was at Chelsea. Mario was, and he met Jose, and he rang. Damien Duff, the Irish player, was playing for Chelsea at the time, and Mario actually, Jose asked Mario to ring Damien Duff, pretending to be him. And he did. He bought it. Suddenly silent, so he rang Damien Duff, and
just to tell him he's getting sold to like West Brom or something.
So brilliant.
Right, sure. We'll move away from.
Gav, when he went to Fight Night last night, he wore the worst jumper I've ever.
But he's supposed to wear shite clothes as well.
No,
that's not a thing. That's just his own
his own interpretation of the night.
I'm just saying, when I was there, those people going up to me and being like,
"State your fucking
I love your jumper."
You look like Ron Weasley.
That is a very Ron
Weasley. A guy came up to me and he was like, "ASOS." I was like, "Yeah, I was in that jumper the other day." I was like, "So, yeah."
Something your father at home might wear around Christmas time.
No, very good.
Yeah, honest to God.
But obviously, jumpers was a big part in the den, and obviously, that was a part that people look back on quite fondly. Yeah. I really don't think you would have worn it. Do you have a picture of last night? No. Good. It's probably for the best. No photographic evidence of it.
Was it patterned? Was it
stripes?
Stripes. Oh yeah.
Cozy.
Stripes, vertical or
Horizontal.
Horizontal, right? Okay.
Not flattering, you know.
I'm glad you did that because I never know the difference between horizontal and vertical.
It's like latitude and longitude.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
yeah.
which. One is the festival.
Were the jumpers on Dempsey's then your own conscious decision, or was somebody like, we're going to put you in this? Make
Yeah,
it,
like, was
make
there
it look
someone
a bit
in,
more
like,
homely?
I think it was probably my mother's but I started getting ones that were actually, they looked like woolly jumpers, but they were actually made out of cotton and linen.
Oh, it should be very warm.
So
the lights and
they,
stuff.
yeah, because they were much lighter or whatever, and they I didn't get too hot with them, but
Would you
they
wear,
were.
would you wear them going home then?
Sometimes, yeah.
National treasure, locked in our
I remember I don't know whether you remember Anne Doyle from the
course.
newsroom.
Yeah.
Well, Anne was. I had one that was a Dennis the Menace one, a red one, and she kept saying, "When you're finished with that, would you give that to me?" So I gave it to her. So she somewhere in her house now she has that. I wonder
On
if
the
she still
mantelpiece.
wears it.
Momentum.
Yeah.
I don't think Gav's one would have made the cut now. I think.
Sure, we'll move away from the radio talk and focus a bit more about yourself. So we asked this to a few of our guests as well.
Yeah.
How do you unwind typically at the end of the day?
I'm a bit of a gadget freak.
Oh, okay.
So I like.
You are wearing an
can see
Apple
the
Watch,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I was given this as a present last week, which is the new 10S.
Greg's just grabbed Ian.
Sorry, I used to work for Apple.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't afford nice things anymore
thought you
because
said
I
you
don't work for Apple anymore. Oh wow!
So it's
Right,
brilliant.
do you want to go outside?
Yeah.
No, it might be for the best.
So they gave that to me as a bit of a present. So I got that. I have the Apple Watch, and I have like. The only thing is, I'm pissed off with Apple. So put this out in your podcast because I've got one of those pencils.
I have an Apple Pencil.
Right,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work on that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't work on my. I have an iPad Pro, so it does. It used to work on it, but it worked about 3 times. Then it stopped working. I sent it back to them, and I said, "This doesn't work." I thought my understanding of a pencil is that you can put it in a drawer, and when you need it, you take it out and use it. So they won't do anything about it. They won't give me. They don't give me a new one. They won't give me anything.
I'm not trying to be smart, but you did charge it. Like.
Oh, I did charge.
Okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know. I'm not as stupid as I look.
Okay.
You know.
Ian's phone just lit up there. He has an email from Mario Rostock. Will you tell
really?
Mario?
Will you stop looking at his shit? Like,
Grab the phone.
Will you tell Mario to come on our show next, please?
New
Thank you.
message. Oh yeah,
We're always recruiting guests. So there's never a bad opportunity.
But I never stopped you, Colin.
He just sent me a thing. We always send things about different characters, what they've done in real life. So he just said Michael D. Higgins did the Mexican wave at the Liam Miller match. So apparently he did. Yeah. So
his group chat.
he's just he's like Michael D. He's going to be very hard to beat.
I'd say it'd be a
Your
landslide.
man for Dragons then should just like.
And he's just turning up at all. He turned up at a Big Tom, an unveiling of a statue to Big Tom the other day. He turned up at the ploughing championships. Turned up at the Liam Miller
Kate's
thing
meeting
yesterday.
today.
Yeah, he's coming here.
He's
today.
coming here
Is it
today.
today or is it tomorrow?
That's today, I think.
For some sort of opening to do with the SU building.
Student Centre, yeah.
They put out like
Finish
free.
building it first, wouldn't they? Before the president gets here.
We have our tagline for today. Dempsey scathing remarks about DCUFC.
This year gave us all the issues about
The T and ID is shite. Yeah. We just need that
I
one
couldn't
line.
figure that one. Like, you know, you could fair enough. Coffee, you could say the coffee somewhere is shit. Like, but you can't go wrong with tea.
No,
No, it's just tea bag.
I think somebody maybe somebody gave me.
The polystyrene cups he said that put a bad taste on it. Yeah.
That same thing happens with wine. If you have if you get wine and it's corked and it repeats on you all the time. It's
that
horrible.
leads to our
It's
next
disgusting,
question.
Yeah. How much wine do you drink?
How many units would you consider? No, if or when you do take a tipple, what would it be? What's your?
Well, I often ask myself the question, and I ask my wife this, and other people I know. It says if you were told by somebody you have to drink one more drink, only one type of drink for the rest of your life, and you have to choose which one. And so it would probably be red wine that I would choose.
Any Merlot, Absal?
I like Rioja. That would be my favourite. So
pretentious.
Yeah. Pretentious. What?
You're not trying to make the guests aggro. You do this all the time.
No. But like the Spanish one, I love. I'm in. Like I go to Portugal a lot, and I do like their Alentejo wines as well. But across the border, then Spain, I'd say the Spanish wines are my favourite. Although I've started getting into this Pinot Noir now, which is a little bit lighter, and it doesn't give you as much of a banging your head the next morning. So
And would you drink much beer yourself? Drink
much now?
How many pints on an average night?
I do. I like I like both Guinness and I like Carlsberg particularly.
My favourite.
Carlsberg,
I don't know why.
It's
Carlsberg.
Yeah. So you can't stand it.
Oh, I don't. I'm not much of a lager.
Yeah.
I like my
generally
Guinness,
don't like.
I don't like Smithwick. My father-in-law had a party once, and he says, "Oh, I got a keg and everything," and it was all Smithwicks. And I said, because he liked Smithwick's, so I said, and by the end of the night, I loved Smithwick's. That's great.
I think when you've had enough of anything, you start to love it regardless.
But they don't advertise as much. So you don't see as much. They used to have a great thing years ago, which was, "Are you going for a pint?" And that was their tagline. We used to use Smithwick's, "Are you going for a pint?" And everybody used to say it, and I'd say it did well, but they seem to have, and Harp as well used to be another
Harp's
one.
very much fallen off.
They
definitely. I don't think they have a marketing team.
No. I think it's only available in exclusively old men, small country pubs now.
Dark, and they still have the snug in them.
The keg is about 5 years old.
Nothing wrong with a good snug, though.
These kids probably don't know what a snug is. Oh, let's put them on the spot. Do you know what a snug is?
Oh,
Jesus. They're showing their age.
It's
or
like
you're showing yours.
It's like a little sitting room in a pub. Except it's kind of barriered off.
You push all the womans.
So you can go in and you can have a chat and have a little meeting and a few drinks.
I'm sorry, Ian. I just apologise for Greg.
It's alright.
I'm in good form tonight.
So your morning coffee had a little bit extra or something. I'd say.
Ian, who would you invite to a dinner party, dead or alive?
Dead or alive?
Well, Bowie has to be there.
Bowie would have to be there. Who else? I've always had a fascination for the actress Uma Thurman.
Oh yeah.
So I wouldn't mind her coming along. We could talk about Quentin Tarantino and all that went on there. How many people can come to my party?
I'd say 3 or 4.
3 or 4. I would like to also. I'd like Bono to come to my party as well, so we can have a good old chat.
Would you not bring Mario and then you'd have the luxury
you
of
have them
everybody?
all, yeah.
You just switch in
it'd be a lot cheaper. Table for two and off you go.
Be the waiter.
Actually, going back to him, he obviously has his own show now. Or Mario Rose Last Sunday Rose. Did you give him any advice about having his own show? I mean, I saw.
No, purposely, I didn't actually.
I saw Today FM's nice little video about him getting his new show. Everybody just kind of slagging him and stuff like that. But did you actually give him any serious advice?
No, I honestly didn't. And I mean, we kind of discussed that and said no, just do it and see. Because I mean, I think the one thing I did say was try not to be the guy who does the funny voices in the morning. Try and be
Don't
yourself.
pigeonhole yourself.
So he does some impressions now and again, but there's no kind of comedy element in the thing as such. But there are funny moments, and I think it's a great show. I would listen to that kind of show all the time, really. Because it just play a bit of music, you have a bit of a chat, and it's engaging, and you talk to people, and So you could come on after him. You could do that. You could.
I mean, if you want to put a word in,
you have to be very careful what you say to Colin because he will follow you.
Remember that? Remember what you were saying there
back in 2008.
We're laughing, but it's true.
I'm just fascinated with this shite night.
Ian will bring you next Tuesday. Come on down.
They do it every Tuesday. Every year.
Do you want to DJ it?
Yeah.
We could do it for Bardstown or something.
It's a great name.
Great.
It's after being somebody tried to steal it. I think it was. I don't know if it was ITB or not, or some college in Dublin tried to start running another thing called Shite Night. Yeah, there was a bit of beef about it on Facebook.
Excellent.
I don't know the exact college, so I can't call them out specifically, but I have a feeling it was ITB. So
probably Southsiders, I'd say so.
Sure, we could show you around here, Bar.
That's
location.
But listen, what kind of music do they play?
I'd summarise it as like a teenage dirtbag, that kind of music. The Venga Boys.
If you ever, obviously you've been in a DJ booth and you've overlooked the kind of songs like the people just go. It's one of those
kind of the end of nighters.
Literally, but for 3 hours.
Which is why we spend most of our time in the smoking area. Let's be fair, just to get away from it.
Well, it's not that bad. Ian, what is your ideal Saturday night? All things going to plan. You're completely in control of all your environment. What do you do?
I like to go. I like food. I like to go out. Good meal somewhere.
Yeah. Who would you bring? Would you the wife at home now, or
no? I'd bring my wife. But another group. Another 2 friends maybe.
So you don't have to like talk to her all the time.
Exactly, because we've already spoken about the tumble dryer.
You've exhausted
well,
everything.
you tick that box today as well. Like, you're going to get brownie points for that.
Exactly, yeah.
You might get a piece.
Yeah, the only problem is now, because I wanted it today, they said, we can have it for you on Saturday. And I said, well, no, I want it today. And they said, okay, well, you can put it in the back of your car. And I said, well, what am I going to do with the old one? And they said, you're going to have to bring that back up to us then. Mm-hmm. So I have to make two journeys now. So I'm going to have to get the old one, bring it back up.
Does he not know who you are? Like,
yeah.
Do you know?
Well, I mean, they would
That's
have done all that.
They said,
they're not actually fans.
They probably would have. They probably would have done that if they delivered. But anyway, sure, she'd be delighted. Thrilled.
Have you ever used your name, or like just your as a kind of a like, come on, like there's obviously a table in this restaurant. My name's Ian Dempsey.
We're not like in an arrogant way.
Not in an arrogant, but have you ever?
Even though it's kind of probably hard to do it without being arrogant.
Yeah.
No, but I'd say
is there a temptation?
People
to
have done it on my behalf, maybe as in, somebody rings up and says, we need a table for 4 or whatever. And say, Ian Dempsey.
MC's coming with us.
Okay, we'll see what we can do for you there. But I
might try that one.
I swear he is coming. Like he told me he was going to be here. Yeah, he's just delayed. Like
I think that's a bit of an abuse, to be honest with you. But
so if you said,
although I am a great believer in the fact that I think there's, even when a restaurant says, "No, we're full up, we can't," I still believe there's somewhere. I'd say if you actually turn up, because that they find you something.
There's cancellation. There'll be cancellations.
Yeah, there's always cancellation.
So if a dinner is an ideal Saturday night, let's say 3-course meal, what are you having?
Oh God, that's very specific here.
Well, ideal 3-course meal.
Do you brush your teeth in a circle, clockwise?
Yeah. I like good big solid prawns.
Oh yeah,
so that'd be a nice starter there. Although recently I have started developing a kind of an itch when I take them, certain ones.
So you can have like some kind of
some sort of an allergy with them. Yeah. So I have to watch myself with that. But I sometimes would carry one of those antihistamine tablets with me. Yeah. So if it hits me, I just
Claritin or
bang one of those in. Claritins, yeah.
I have the hay fever,
Yeah. So, but sometimes I forget to bring them, and then and it's really itchy. But I know it's going to go away. Although I think that someday it's not going to go away, and it's the end.
You're going to be killed by a king prawn.
Would you like to write that way?
Exactly. Killed by a king prawn. That's glamorous.
Imagine that headline.
The Sun, and they'd have so much fun with that.
They'd probably use a pun of some sort to try.
Actually no.
It won't. Main course.
Oh, right, we're going there, are we? Okay, right, fair enough.
I like asking these questions.
He's going to ask you out for dinner.
Yeah. He's going to ask you to pay as well.
You get the full menu, and then you say, can I come?
Gavin might be from Cavan, but Colin is the tightest tour I've ever met.
Really? Oh my God, really?
Sorry, main course.
That's true. Main course.
Money's great.
Yeah. Main course. Good fillet steak with a nice little.
How would you have it done now?
Pepper, medium. Rare to medium. That's
okay.
I'm the opposite end of the spectrum.
You're the burnt man.
I'm typically Irish. Very well done. Burn it.
Like I'd say
it is much nicer the other way.
Medium to well on the well side. I like a little bit of
the texture. I can't deal with the texture.
And then pepper sauce, like you're about to say.
Pepper sauce, but then I also make my own chimichurri sauce, which is very nice. And I can't remember the ingredients off the top of my head, but you can look it up. Chimichurri, it's really good. And you can stick it in the intro of this. The recipe for chimichurri.
Can you just repeat that again?
Chimichurri.
Okay.
It's very nice, and I've gone to restaurants where they have chimichurri, and I can honestly say mine is better.
Are you a chimichurri snob then?
I'm a chimichurri snob.
Are you a foodie?
I am. Yeah, I love food, love taste. I'm talking to Nevin McGuire tomorrow.
In the kitchen, or
I do, and I find it very therapeutic, and. I like Nevin McGuire's coming into me tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. He's a lovely guy, very nice guy, and he's just brought out a new book, which is basically the basics of cooking. It's like a manual, so it's called The Home Economics of Cooking. Brilliant.
I need that.
I
can barely cook.
When I first went to, as I said, I'm sure I went to Galway before I went here.
Yeah.
But my mum tried to domesticate me a small bit. She showed me how to make scrambled eggs in the microwave.
Very good.
Mom.
Did you reject the call yet?
Yeah.
Oh no, answer. Remember Sinead?
Answers.
We did an interview one time and the girl's mum rang her in the middle of it and she just...
Could you ring her back and get Ian to say hello to her?
Will we?
Yeah. You know, we were talking about food. So a nice steak for... You can't go wrong with a steak, I feel.
Yeah, and I don't really do desserts. I'm not really don't have a sweet tooth at all. So.
No?
I love... My ideal dessert, mountain of fish rolls.
Fish rolls, good, yeah.
So
I think Lidl are doing nice little mini ones, actually.
Not too bad. I'm interviewing Ian Dempsey at the moment. Do you want to talk to him?
Put it on speaker.
Tell Colette.
No, put her on speaker.
Put her on speaker. We have to be able to...
Do you want to say hi to my mum? Colette.
How are you, Colette? How's it going?
Hi Ian, how are you?
Very good, thanks very much. You must be very proud of him, Colette, are you?
Well, I hope he's doing his job properly.
Oh yes, he is indeed. You're up in Cavan, are you?
I am indeed, yes.
Right.
We live beside, I'm sure you know it well, the Sleeve Russell Hotel.
Oh, I'm going up there this weekend. I might see you out for a walk at some stage around the golf course.
Look, we coming on to your mum?
We actually have a B&B in, so...
Oh, have you? Oh,
yeah.
very good.
Bit of advertising.
Mammy House B&B.
Excellent. On near the
Yeah,
Sleeve
it's right
Russell,
place
is it?
Steve Russell.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
What's it called?
Right beside
Mount View
Sean
House.
Quinn's house.
What's it
Yeah.
called?
Mount View House.
Mount View House.
Now, we had bad winds there in Calvin, so our signs
Yeah.
fell down. Broken, gone.
We'll still let you in.
We'll still let you in.
And I'm staying in another one.
Sorry, we're booked out this weekend.
Are you?
Oh. You couldn't even make space for Ian Dempsey.
No, I'm sorry. We have a big conference, a medical conference on the Friday and then weddings on the Saturday.
Very
So,
good. You do weddings, do you?
One's come from weddings all the time.
Yeah. Very good.
Thanks very much for the call, Colette.
Thanks, Colette.
Pleasure.
See ya.
I'll chat to you later.
nice
Love,
to talk to you.
Bye.
Love
you.
That was
He loves his
the little mammy.
Right, well, that took a...
That's a moment.
That took a... Yeah, that was a twist. So, Ian, any hobbies? Apart from your cooking, obviously.
Cooking, technology, words with friends.
Words with
I'm a
friends.
big
Yeah.
addict of that. And
Any,
I'm not a
who do you
sport
generally
at
play
all.
against? Anyone of any notability?
No, but don't think so. No. I used to play against Anton Savage, and then I think he was told that by his wife that he had to stop because it was taking over his life.
Right.
So he doesn't
Did
play
you take that
anymore.
flattery from that? Like, she felt like threatened by you.
Perhaps, yeah. I think he might have been playing with another 24 people as well at the same time. So, but it's a good game. I like that. So I like word games. And
Would you be a film fan at all?
Which
Film fan?
film? Yeah, I like a good film. My wife is a huge film fan, and I tend to watch TV and watch movies and things in the other room. I kind of hear them. I don't really watch them. She's watching the way. Sometimes on a Saturday night or a Friday night, we might download 2 or maybe even 3 films and watch them one after the other. And
Download?
Well, no, what I mean is kind of
Stream?
Apple,
Yeah.
stream, whatever.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you
No, not
all above
not the-
all above
legal.
board, all above
Yeah.
You
board.
like Apple TV, do you?
I like Apple TV.
It's
Yes.
new remote. You know, the touch one.
Oh yeah, I have that. Yeah, but sure, can't you hook up the Bluetooth keyboard
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah,
So then, because I think you'd imagine with a company like that, they would have come up with a better way of putting in
But see,
letters.
what they
searches.
like doing is making your life more difficult at times.
Yeah.
Just because you're still going to buy their stuff.
Yeah. There is a feature though that you can talk into it, isn't there? So you can say
With Apple TV.
with Apple TV
Yeah.
with that new one, so you
Yeah.
can say.
Film you love, film you hate, Ian?
I used to love a film called All That Jazz years ago, which is slightly kind of a girly sort of film, but it's about choreography, it's about show business, but it has a great sequence with George Benson on Broadway in it, and it's kind of an audition scene. It's absolutely brilliant. Loved that. I wasn't really taken by Dunkirk. Everybody was saying it was a great film. I thought actually
Very
Harry
slow
Styles
moving.
was probably the best thing about it, to be honest with you, and that wasn't even that great. But I mean, I thought he was pretty good, and I'd like to see him in some more movies. Don't know.
Do you have a movie that, like, so, you know, when you're in a bit of a mood, you know, and you're just like a bit hungover, you know, anything along those lines,
Yeah.
you just like want a bit of me time.
Yeah.
I watch Marley and Me, and I'm like,
Marley and Me.
I'm
Oh,
guaranteed
right.
a little cry, like,
Yeah.
and I'll feel better.
Really?
Yeah. Like even if I'm in a
See,
good
I
mood.
don't cry, as you know.
Oh,
so
Yeah, he's made of stone.
But I
so-
do. My daughter
Do you
does
have one of
this.
those?
She goes into kids movies from years ago, and she starts watching them.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
a little bit
It's like that. Yeah.
hungover or whatever.
Toy Story 3, I will cry
Well,
at the end of.
Toy Story. I would watch Toy Story.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
captivating. I think
New
it's
one's out next
amazing.
year.
Particularly number 3. It's great.
Yeah, 3 just made me cry. I actually went to the cinema with it, and I was with like a group of our friends.
But
And,
that's a
really cool.
masterpiece. Like
Oh,
it's really
great.
good.
The third
you know.
one, it's very dour. Like it's a bit depressing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
no, it's
It's-
real. Like,
it's
it's
very
real.
real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's I think like you're kind of saying, is this really for kids? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a real life lesson
lot.
in the whole thing, isn't there? You know.
You know the way, like obviously Woody, Mandy,
Yeah.
like I have my teddy Bobby. You know, no shame admitting it. I feel like this is going to come back to bite me. Did you have a Bobby? Did you have a Woody?
No, but I think I had
A Blanky.
a blankie. Yeah, but I think I used to call it an oi oi.
An oi oi.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I also had an elephant called, but I didn't call it an elephant. I called it an amernettle.
Okay. I imagine that would have been harder to say.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go. So
yeah.
where's my amernettle?
Amernettle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jesus.
so,
that must have been a hard one for your parents to explain when you were running around screaming, "Where's my amernettle?"
What are they giving this child?
I think I remember I had a stuffed dog called Frodo.
Frodo.
Frodo, yeah, like Frodo from Lord of the Rings. Because
Oh, very good.
I watched Frodo, or I watched Lord of the Rings when I was younger, and I don't know. I think I just was enamored with that name, so I named my stuffed dog Frodo. Gav,
I have never got into kind of the Lord of the Rings, or I've never seen those.
I hadn't watched it in
that
years. I
everybody
watched the
raves
first one
about.
there the
I've
other
never
night.
seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen any of those.
I've never seen Game of Thrones either.
the thing about Lord of the
they
Rings
don't
is each film
move
is
me.
like 3
They're
plus
very
hours
long.
Yeah.
Really.
The thing about TV shows, there's so much you have to get into. Like,
Yeah.
how many hours are you when you're binging a
Yeah,
show?
exactly.
And a lot of TV shows, the length of them are getting longer.
Yeah.
as well.
Exactly. And
Like
I
Game of
think it's a
Thrones-
bit of a scam, to be honest with you,
Yes.
because I mean, you come up with a good idea for a show, and you do the show, and then they say, "Oh, there's kind of purchase in this, so
Yeah.
let's do another few based on the same characters."
Yeah.
But the story was the original story, and then they're kind of
Milking
flogging a dead
Yeah.
horse.
The episodes are a bit longer, but the series are getting shorter and more spread apart.
Yeah.
And it's really
Yeah.
just,
Is there a particular TV show, box set, anything of late? that
Well, I
you-
mean, I love Father Ted. I loved all the Office stuff. I love
Father Ted is a very
extras.
controversial one for Irish people. Like my parents absolutely despise Father Ted.
Really?
Yes, despise.
Yeah. Why?
They
Do
just,
they
said they just said it's like okay. It's just said like it's taking the piss out of Irish people.
It's not.
I like Father Ted. Like
Yeah.
You wonder what the reaction would be if it was recorded today. Same show idea.
Yeah.
Now. Just
Yeah.
with all the aggro towards the
Wouldn't
church.
work.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't, I don't think.
Well, I don't think it would pass. Like
It wouldn't
the
pass.
politically
No,
correct.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
lovely
people,
bottoms.
we kind of look back at it now, kind of through rose-tinted spectacles.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because it was
that's
such
what
a,
happens with society. I mean, like when the Faulty Towers came out with Basil
I
Fawlty,
only watched that last
there
year.
was racism. There was there was an Irish guy in. It was Mr. Faulty and the Irish builder making a mess of things, and you just couldn't do it anymore.
Did you
but
know
at the
that-
same time, it was funny for its time.
its time,
And
yeah.
I hate the way they're now starting to say, "Oh, we should never show that again," or "We should edit that bit out." I think you've got to say that
its
was
time
what
and-
it was
yeah.
then. So it's an historical record of what went on.
Did you know that Faulty and the blonde one? What was her name?
Yeah, Connie.
Yeah, they actually were
Yeah,
married. Yeah,
they wrote it. Yeah,
Mad.
yeah. And the second series, they were actually breaking up when they were writing it.
Oh.
But they stayed. I think they're still friends. I was listening to a thing about it recently. But and there was only something like 13 episodes, or
Yeah, 11 or 12.
yeah. And the same with Father Ted. So it's obviously a good idea.
Yeah,
not
you
to,
think you go to watch it and you
Yeah.
think there's like a whole catalogue, but it's actually quite short.
I actually
Yeah.
thought when people were on to me about Faulty Towers and stuff, I thought there must have been a couple of seasons of it, and then I actually went and watched it, and
yeah.
I think the beauty of Father Ted is that there wasn't too many episodes. It
Yeah.
didn't overstay its welcome, you know.
Yeah, but I think they're all great. I mean, I think you need to have a good talk with your parents.
yeah.
Because they're not slagging Ireland.
Give them a call,
They're kind of slagging the Catholic Church and and also, I mean, I think that it's like if you take the three main priest characters, like there's a baby, Jack, there's a toddler, Dougal, and there's a kind of a big brother, Ted. And that's if you think of like your own baby, you know, it's that one screams every time he wants something, alcohol or food or whatever, you know. The other one is just kind of just taking everything at face value, as in Dougal, and then your man is trying to kind of set them on the right step, but he's already established that he's
not
got
fully.
And he's kind of got a few bob resting in his account, etc. You know, so I think it's a classic.
I've seen Ardal O'Hanlon actually at Comedy Centre EP a couple of years back, and he was brilliant.
He did our course.
Yeah, he did communication. He did our course.
Did he?
Right.
Wow, very good.
We don't have too many famous
alumni. No, I think
Laura Whitmore.
Well,
very good.
Yeah,
like you're doing all right with those two. Yeah.
Not with name recognition, but there is certainly a lot of successful alumni. A lot of people in Irish media did communications here.
Yeah,
but there always the joke is that communications is like the least employable. If you're coming out of college, you're least likely to get a job in that specific field.
Well, I think that's a little less likely now because I think there are so many.
There's so many facets to get into.
You know, like there's obviously a lot more. Yeah, well, I suppose that's a good question that we never touched on. Obviously, from when you started doing radio to where we are now, technology is, I suppose, its influence in the media is obviously exponential. Like you can't really, I suppose, scale it. How much has it changed, or how does it affect your daily? You know.
Well, I mean, I'll put it to you this way: when I started, say, on RTE all those years ago, if you wanted to run a competition on your show, you would actually say, send us in a postcard, and you'd have a week to send the postcard in. They'd send the postcard, and then if you weren't getting that many entries, you'd say, okay, but we're going to extend the closing date on this one for another week, and then you'd pick out somebody, and then you'd post the thing up. Nowadays, you do it in 10 minutes. You say, we're giving this away, bang, gone. Now, I think, to be honest with you, it's a bit too fast. That people start to need to slow down a little bit and maybe control it, pull in the reins a bit and say, okay, we're going to do this today, but we're going to give it away on Wednesday or whatever, you know. And I think that's starting to happen. And even with TV and that, I think that the Netflixes of this world and even Sky, they're going to start saying, okay, we're not giving you all the episodes in one go. Yeah. We're going to trickle them out, so people have time to say, did you see that one last night? And there's more of that, you know, kind of what's that water cooler moment?
A full series.
I would do your head in. I remember the only one I watched. I was probably one of the original binge watchers. I watched the entire series, the 2 series of Fawlty Towers, back to back one day at home until about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it does your head in, particularly with Basil Fawlty. Like, I mean, everything that happens, you think, you know, there's going to be a confrontation about it. Amazing.
Ian, we always ask our guests, well, not our students who we've interviewed, but any advice for people who want to make it in the industry or just in general?
Well, I mean, the thing I said earlier on was don't lie generally, and I mean, if you're going to be an on-air sort of person, don't say you're going to do something and not do it. That's kind of, just be yourself, to be honest, because that's what I found has worked for me. And
people like you, Ian.
Yeah,
even
like what's Gav going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
and also just remember that you never know, like the person that you're kind of fighting with, hating, not getting on with, could be your boss at some stage, like you guys, for example. You know what I mean? You just never know.
Like that, I suppose.
So
very good. Well, I think we've naturally come towards the end of it.
Well, I don't know about naturally. Like, I'm sure there's some other veer that we're going to take.
There was a bit of a roundabout way, yeah. Do you want to finish with a few of the get to know questions?
I thought you were going to say, finish with a song.
We've done a couple of them. What ones haven't we done? I suppose I'm not going to say best. An interview in your career that supposedly stands out the most.
Probably, do you know Bruce Springsteen? Yeah. Did him in Berlin, and the idea was sometimes the people who are superstars, they're okay. It's the people who surround them, their kind of management and whatever, that are, you know, assholes basically. And there was this person who was a woman actually, and she just came in to me the day before, and I was interviewing him in Berlin. And she says, now, you're not to go anywhere near Bruce Springsteen. Don't go near Bruce. Says, I will tell you what to do. You arrive here, stand over there, do all this. And so I said, okay. So I just arrived, and it was just a radio one, so it was just microphones, this sort of thing. And I arrived, and I was there about 15 minutes early, and this woman hadn't arrived yet. But Bruce came into the room himself, and he says, "Are you doing the interview?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Come on." So he picked up 2 bottles of Budweiser, and we went outside under an umbrella. The sun was shining in Berlin, and he was sitting down there, and the two of us started having a chat, drinking beer, and your woman went by in one of these tour buses, horrified, saying, "I told you, I can't do it. The boss told me to do it." You know? So that was probably the most memorable one. I did Madonna as well in London.
One you'd like to forget. Has anything ever gone wrong?
REM, Michael Stipe from REM, the lead singer, he was just in bad humour. Like, I could have asked him, you know, to tell me about his latest album, and he would have said, "That's a shit question." You know, he just everything was like, he just was in bad humour.
Yeah. Speaking of rock stars, me and Colin are big Oasis fans, and you've interviewed Liam, I did,
and Noel, yes,
right,
I did,
so
yeah.
Noel or Liam?
No, I mean, I think they're both very entertaining. They're both lovely guys. I think the Liam one was kind of more. There was something about it. I think he's got a really good sense of humour. Sense of kind of mischief rather than humour. I think Noel probably has a better sense of humour in a way. He's kind of he's funnier. Yeah. Whereas I think Liam is just mischievous. He's just trying to rile everybody up all the time. You know, it's great. But I interviewed the two of them. Very nice guys, and I'd love to see them getting back together in the zoo.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, but it's kind of. I'd say they've kind of banked that as well. It, like, you know, the way I'd say they've said that's there. We'll leave that for another 20 years.
Well, Liam often, well, not often, but every few weeks or months tweets something along the lines of, like, he had one tweet there about 2 or 3 months ago that he explicitly said, "Let's get the big O back together." And he, like, not that it would matter because Noel doesn't run his Twitter. He doesn't actually mention Noel, but it's obviously clearly addressed. So, I mean, I think Liam is kind of gagging to do it, and I think he wants to do it because he loved Oasis, and not entirely about the money, because his album did very well. Yeah,
actually, both of their albums did well. I mean, like, what they come out with is pretty decent stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very different as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But wouldn't it be just brilliant? And like, whenever they go and do gigs and they do the Oasis songs on their own, and the audience, you could see what it would be like if they were both there.
Like, I'd love to go to an Oasis gig where, let's say, Noel came out and did some of his solo stuff, Liam came out and did some of his solo stuff, and then they did the thing.
He would be about 3 hours though.
Yeah, it would be, to be fair, but it would run quite a long time, I'd say. Right. Yeah.
Well, I feel sorry, I have one more. Okay, I feel like it wouldn't be a proper interview unless I somehow got into the dig at you. Okay. So
here we go again.
So Ian,
we already buried this hatchet.
No, I am not taking listeners' answer for it. Like, it's not.
He's the expert.
No, I'm calling bullshit.
Never mind. Go on.
So Colin was from Waterford. Yeah. Okay. But sorry, what, about 2009? Is that what you said?
Thanks.
8
or 9. Yeah.
So Dublin started to get quite successful in the football circa
in 2011.
Oh yeah, I suppose you were there. You had 2 tough years, didn't you? Anyways,
I was like 10 years old. I was only just starting to watch football. What did you want me to do? Suffer as a 4-year-old?
Colin, for whatever reason, decides he wants to jump on the bandwagon and follow the Dublin footballers. Right. So he'll follow Waterford for hurling, but when it comes to football, I love Dublin. Yeah. What do you think about
that? Well, as a Dub myself, I'm very happy to have as many people following the team from the capital city. And let's face it, there are lots of people from Waterford actually living here. So I think that once you keep it undercover when you're actually down in the sunny southeast, it's okay. But have you got the shirt and everything still?
I have a jersey and a half zip at home, that were gifted to me by various family members. But like, it started, like, what happened was, we already explained this already, but what started was, my dad used to bring me to matches. Like, he used to go on his own, leave me and my grandmother's, but he said, alright, I'll bring him along to a couple of matches, see what he thought. So it's back in 2009, like, J.O. was still playing, Kieran Whelan was still playing, all that
Dublin ones,
because like he would
is your dad a Dub?
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
that's
the
reason.
There
you go. This conversation is over.
Do you know
bring this up, Greg? I think you're going to lose it.
Do you know the by any chance they're actually friends of mine, the Garrahy girls?
Yeah.
Do you know Avi and Darren?
The Garrahy girls. Yeah.
Now, I know their father is. I know him really well. He'd be my friend Eugene, and he's from Clare. But they all live in Dublin, whatever. But they're Clare absolutely mad. You know, so I mean, like, you can kind of move things around like that, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah. Like, it's not like I was out celebrating in the streets of Limerick when they won the All Ireland because my mum's from Limerick, because I haven't been following Limerick.
See, I actually would have preferred that.
But
like that would have been okay. I would have been like 45 years, right? Okay, I'll give you this one. But like,
well, there's 16 years between 95 and 2011.
you didn't start following him till like fucking 2011.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. This is the thing. So he started bringing me in 2009 when I was 10 years old. Yeah. And we started going to games, and like naturally enough, like because I was watching Dublin, I got to know the Dublin players and started like I'm not just going to sit down with my arms folded if a goal goes in.
God is from Cavan, and he follows Manchester United.
No. I'm actually Chelsea man myself.
Chelsea, like myself, yeah.
That's bad. Cavan's a bit of a
I stand.
But how many All Irelands do Waterford have?
Well, hang on. Do Waterford... Now, I'm going to get killed for this. Do Waterford even have a GA football team?
Yeah, they have a senior football team. They're in Division 4.
That's a fair question. No, that's a fair
question. My old PE and geography teacher was the captain of them 2 or 3 years ago while he was still in the school. Yeah. But yeah, they do.
And still no more incentive to follow your own county, like where you live, you were born, you were reared.
We're all part of the big world now, you know.
I don't believe it.
I think I'm
lead leash.
I'm gonna call that 2-0. I have the backing of Ian Dempsey and Michael Lester now.
How have Leash been doing lately in either?
Yeah. 5 All Irelands for Gavin, just saying.
Yeah.
What, you read Wikipedia as well?
That's my tip as well, so look.
Oh, very good.
I'm doing right here.
Well, I am from Leash on both sides, so
good for you.
None of this.
Unlucky.
Yeah. What are you calling Harry Potter? Mud? No.
Is he Mudblood? No.
Is it Mudblood? Mudblood.
That's the derogatory term for people that are born with common parents.
And Harry Potter is the non-derogatory term?
With common parents?
Muggle.
Oh, Muggle.
Yeah.
What do you mean common parents?
Non-magic.
Oh, non-magic, right.
Colin actually has this classist kind of a thing. Don't get
You were talking about Harry Potter, for God's sake.
That's another thing I've never seen. I'm sorry.
What?
Are you a big
I'm not a big
Potter?
fan. I just remember because I grew up reading the books and stuff.
Books,
no.
How did you escape through that whole like saga of without reading a book or?
Sure,
I don't know.
The first book came out was in
95,
something like that. Yeah. Okay. He escaped lightly, obviously. Yeah. My dad had to read all 7 books.
Have you seen Star Wars?
I saw the first one.
What's the first one?
That's the first one, yeah. You, Star Wars?
But like, I think everyone's seen Star Wars. Like, no. Never. Ever.
Sorry.
No.
I saw the first one in the Ambassador Cinema in Dublin, which is now where they show Monster. You know the thing, the body, the the end of O'Connell Street.
The dinosaur.
The human body exhibition or something.
Anyway, have we exhausted all avenues?
We're starting to talk about exhibitions on O'Connell Street.
I think we exhausted all avenues of conversation for now. Listen,
you can invite me back for the Christmas special.
Exactly.
We're planning for a Tuesday night though.
Exactly.
Shite night.
DJ Ian Dempsey.
I'm loving Shite night.
Well, listen,
tell everybody about that.
Ian, thanks for making the trip up from Marconi House.
No problem. Well, I was actually en route to Sutton, and I went to Power City on the way to buy a tumble dryer. So
what brand of tumble dryer?
I got the Whirlpool myself now, and
it's
one of the 6 cents. It's got a 1-year warranty, but if you register, you get another year out of it free for nothing.
Would you not
and it's a 9 kg. Yeah, so. Be a nice.
Would you do much washing in your house?
I wouldn't. I don't even know how to use it or work it. But once the buttons start lighting up, I'll be happy.
Okay.
There you go.
Fair enough. Well, then this was just basically part of your to-do list today.
It is. Yeah, it's just. I'm just on the way home.
So you just check that off then. Well, this has been In Conversation for another episode with the lovely Ian Dempsey.
Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
All the best.
Mucho love.